Welcome back, folks. Now I'm still working on the leaked videos for the Mammut and the Moist Hen, so those should be completed in the next few days. But for this video, I want to do a quick preview of some of the initial stats for the light tank class rework with the introduction of the tier 10 light tanks that was announced at Wargaming Fest about a month ago. So we already saw the tier 10 German light tank, the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, also known as the Spielpanzer 57, the French AMX 13105, the Russian T100 light tank, the American XM551 Sheridan prototype, and the WZ132-1 for the Chinese. So we already covered those vehicles, but there's going to be 5 new other light tanks to fill in the gaps to bump the tier 8s to tier 10 or tier 9. So we have the HWK-12 at tier 8 for the Germans, we have the Batch at 12T for the tier 8 for the French, the LTG at tier 7 for the Russians, either the T92 light tank or the T71 CMCD, bumping up the Bulldog. So one of these will become the normal light tank, and the other one will become the Wargaming League Finals, Grand Finals, promotional light tank, premium light tank. So it's like the AMX 1357 or the Lechpanzer M41 Bulldog. So that's usually how it works, I guess. And we have the WZ132A at tier 9 for the Chinese. So there's going to be 3 WZ132s. Awesome. Super awesome. But there's going to be some significant nerfs for some of the light tanks that's already in the game. So that's really bad. So like the Spielpanzer SP1C, it will lose the autoloader for the 90mm. So that's the little weasel right here, but that sucks. Also, the Bulldog will lose the 10 round autoloading 76. That's really disappointing. So no longer you'll hear the gluk 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 of the reload. And yeah, no longer you'll have the 1500 alpha burst from the clip. So that sucks. The T49 will lose the 152 gun launcher with the high explosive round. So this little bastard will lose the high explosive annoyance, but the Sheridan will have it. So but that's mostly the rework. So overall, I took a look at the stats, and I mean, these vehicles, the light tanks, are shaping up to be more of a close range medium support / scout, because the accuracy is questionable, to say the least, for some of them. And it's not really good for sniping, but it's decent for engaging close range targets like circle strafing. But I think that's how Wargaming want these light tanks to play out. So mostly for scouting still, but you can do the close range support, I guess. So let's take a look at all the stats, some of the stats for these vehicles. So let's start off with the Bulldog at tier 8 now, right here. So I'll zoom in a little bit. And I have the actual Bulldog at tier 7, just to compare. So penetration wise, the same. It loses the autoloading 76, the 76mm gun T91E5. So no longer you have the amazing burst of a 10 round clip. Son of a... Oh man, that's what's so awesome about the Bulldog. You can actually one-shot a tier 8 heavy tank with a full clip. Oh well. I mean, that's good, that's amazing. That's what I thought initially when I saw the Bulldog from like 2 years ago with the leak episode. Oh my god, that was amazing, but oh well. So you have the top 76mm, DPM is the same. You're tier 8 now, but the matchmaking is balanced because it's +2 -2 rather than +3 -1. So yeah, it's better now. But same DPM, same reload, same accuracy, aim time, a little bit buffed to the dispersion for vehicle movement and traverse, so that's good. Same gun elevation, gun depression, traverse, all the same. Same horsepower per ton ratio, little bit more health, but you're tier 8 now, and tier 8 should have about, you have 150 health, less than the average, so that sucks. This is tier 7, so health is a little bit low for tier 8 light tank, view range is the same, and cost is actually the same for tier 8 as for tier 7, so interesting. Does that mean tier 7s will be cheaper to buy? Hopefully, but that's actually a boost, I believe. So still 65 rounds of APCR for the 76, alright. But it doesn't change much, mostly. So let's take a look at the WZ132. Let's search up the 132. There's going to be 3 of those. And talk about copycat vehicles, oh my god. So penetration is the same, alright, alpha is the same, a little bit more DPM, alright. So gun performance is mostly the same. Rate of fire is not as, well, better now because better DPM, so better reload time. But shell velocity is the same. Accuracy is not as good, holy crap, 0.384 accuracy compared to 0.345. That's dramatic, that's like huge. Aim time is the same, gun depression is the same. Dispersion is buffed for turret traverse a little bit, but mostly the same, alright. Horsepower per turn ratio the same, terrain resistance the same, top speed same, everything else a little bit more, a little bit less health by 50, so nerf the health by 50. Tank cost the same, yep. View range gets nerfed by 10 meters. So it's mostly the same, but crap your accuracy, so you cannot snipe with the WZ132. You're not supposed to, but still, 0.38? Ew. Alright, here is the batch at 12T. It's replacing the AMX 1390 at tier 8. So let's look up the 1390. 1390. So it's a 12-ton tank, but it has a 75mm rather than a 90 at tier 8. So that's a little bit problematic because the alpha, and let's look, yeah, the alpha is like low, but the DPM is even lower than the AMX 1390. Has a 4-round clip, and penetration is a little bit rough because I already played the AMX 1390, and 170mm of pen is, yeah. Accuracy is the same, better aim time, so that's good. Dispersion wise, it's better than the AMX 1390, so that's good. Same gun, depression, a little bit better elevation. Good. Okay, traverse is a little bit better for the hull, but yeah, it's mostly the same, mostly. Top speed is better. Horsepower per turn ratio is better. Terrain resistance is better. So this should be a little bit faster than the AMX 1390. That's good, but it has less health by 100 and less view range by 10. So this gun is a tier 6 75mm gun. What? I mean, shell velocity is pretty fast, 1000 meters per second. So it's a little bit faster, but it's 170mm of pen with crappy alpha and a 4-round clip, so it reloads every 20 seconds for the whole clip. It has a 3-man crew, 52 rounds. That's not enough. Based on my math, that's not enough because 52 times 150, that's only about, 7,000 approximate potential damage. So that's kind of low for a high tier light tank. So usually you'll find yourself spamming a lot of shots and not penetrating, or you run out of ammo and cannot shoot anyone anymore. So that's the problem with Batchats, but it costs like half of the AMX 1390, so that's a plus. The tank costs half of the actual vehicle, but it has less armor by 10mm. it's only a strip, alright? It's only a strip of 50mm. It's not, yeah. But still. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this vehicle. Accuracy is yeah, but better aim time, sure. Better gun depression. It's fast. View range is, better camo, but the main problem I have with Bad Chats is the fact that the low ammo count for the tier 9 as well as for the tier 10, but more for the tier 9, the 25T AP. But for the 12T, it's only 52 rounds for a 75mm. That's like a tier 5 medium-ish. So, you're facing up to the likes of mouses. And how the hell do you penetrate a mouse? Remember from yesterday's video? The mouse has 185mm of side armor with like 180 at the back or 150. How the hell do you kill mouses with this thing? You don't. Unless you shoot gold into the side at point blank range. But you get evaporated with the mouse DPM. Wow, that sucks. So that's the Bad Chat 12T for you. Get vaporized. Here is the HWK12 replacing the RU251. So let's compare to the RU251. RU254. So it has a 90mm, similar to the RU251, but less penetration by 10mm. Same alpha, way less DPM. Oh my god, the DPM is amazing on the Spielpanzer RU251. Alright, accuracy is the same. Better aim time though, so that's good. Dispersion is a little bit better on vehicle movement, but not as good for the turret traverse. Alright, gun depression is 10 degrees. That's pretty good for a rear mounted turret. This is a rear mounted turret, but it's 10 degrees of gun depression. Alright. Traverse is the same as the RU251. Less horsepower per ton ratio. A lot less top speed. And worse terrain resistance. My god, I never knew how good the RU251 is. This is amazing. This is like okay. Better view range by 10, but cost more. Why does the Bad Chat 12T cost like 1,300,000 credits, whereas this vehicle costs double? Look, the cost is like for the same tier. What the frick? It's the same tier vehicle. Why does it cost like half for the Bad Chat 12T? No idea. Initial stats, preliminary stats, I'm getting confused. But this vehicle is not as good as the RU251, so play this vehicle if you can while it lasts, but it has no armor. Well, then again, the RU251 doesn't have armor as well. The RU251, can't even say it right. Wow. I never thought this thing was amazing. I never played the German light tanks because I was stuck on the VK2801. And yeah, that was terrible for me, but blah. So here is the LTTB at tier 8 now. It's replacing the T54 lightweight. But let's take a look at the LTTB to see if the stats change from tier 7 to tier 8. So I'll zoom in. But penetration is the same, alpha the same, DPM the same, holy crap. Accuracy the same, aim time the same, dispersion is buffed. So for the movement, but still 3 degrees of gun depression, 15 for elevation. Traverse is the same amazing horsepower per ton ratio, and top speed, traverse, yep. Terrain resistance the same, yep. Health is boost, but it's at tier 8 now, but then again the matchmaking is the same, so actually they buffed the health. So, alright, view range the same, but it's basically a buff to the health. Slightly. And that's pretty much it. When you think about it, it's not really a nerf, it's more of a buff by like 100 health. And that's it, but I wish you can face tier 5s with the LTT. then again, it's overkill because you're overkilling Sherman tanks with this thing. This thing is too good because the armor. It's 90mm sloped at the front. So, it's, when you think about it, because the matchmaking changed, so it's not actually a nerf, but there's not that much change from tier 7 to tier 8. So therefore, if you sell this vehicle, it's still the same selling cost. Interesting. Alright, that's pretty much for the LTTB. And we have the T-54 lightweight at tier 9. So the only way I can think of is to compare this to a tier 9 medium. But let's take a look at the stats to see if it's different from the tier 8 version. So a little bit more penetration, that's good. Better DPM by 300 about, or 200, so that's good. Or, oh man, accuracy gets nerfed. So similar to the WZ treatment, buff the DPM, lower the accuracy. Alright, dispersion is buffed slightly, so that's good. Gun depression the same, elevation same, traverse is the same, horsepower per turn ratio same, everything is the same. A little bit more health by 50, a lot more view range though, by 20, that's pretty big. Cost is the same, so mostly buffed to the view range, but the accuracy gets nerfed, with a little bit buffed to the DPM by 1 shell about. So it's tier 9, it's the same matchmaking as the tier 8 version, but not much. View range is pretty good, but 0.403, this accuracy is questionable. Like T29, and sometimes you miss. I play a lot of T29s, and that's about the same accuracy, so blah. Alright, the WZ132A. So, what do I compare this to? Let's compare it with the T-54 lightweight, just because. Or the WZ132, but meh. So, it's a tier 9 vehicle. It has 215mm of pin. How about we compare this to the T-54? Because that's basically a medium. So the light tanks are comparing to mediums. Sounds about right. So this penetration is actually quite decent because it's bad for a tier 9 medium, but the T-54 has 200mm of pin, so that's actually pretty decent in my opinion. 320 alpha, that's also pretty good for a light tank. DPM is high. That's a medium's average DPM at tier 9, or above average for tier 9 medium. That's the same as the T-54. That's pretty good, and you have better penetration than the T-54. Wow. Yeah, accuracy is not good. No, aim time is the same. All right, slightly better dispersion for the turret traverse, but not as good for the hull traverse and the hull movement. 5 degrees of gun depression, 20 elevation, 420 meters of view range. That's pretty amazing. 30 horsepower per turn ratio. That's very good. 64 kilometers per hour top speed. Good. Terrain resistance is decent for. Yeah, it's pretty good for the horsepower per turn ratio with that terrain resistance. This thing is fast. The WZ132A is pretty fast. And the gun's not that bad, so it doesn't have the armor though. It's not the same armor as the T-54, obviously, but if you expect to be pinned in the T-54, then this thing is still, pretty amazing based on the view range. So the accuracy, yeah, 0.403 could be a lot better. Alright, let's take a look at the AMX 1390 now. So, I want to like it, but I already have one. Let's compare to the actual 1390 to see if the stats changed. But, same penetration, yep. Same alpha. Less DPM by 10. Same accuracy. Better aim time, that's good. Gun depression is the same, 12 elevation. Dispersion is better now. That's good, that's a buff. Traverse is the same. Horsepower per ton ratio same, everything else the same. Same health, same view range, same cost. Nothing changed. So it moved from tier 8 to tier 9 with better matchmaking, but it's mostly the same vehicle with less DPM by 10 or 15. What's the difference? Nothing much. It carries 36 rounds. It carries more rounds. Yeah, that's amazing. And I say that with actual, yeah, that's actually pleasant because I find myself running out of shells if I spam too much. Alright, that's good. Here is a Spielpanzer RU251. So let's take a look at how good this thing is, if it's bumped up. But remember, the RU251 is pretty amazing at tier 8. So let's see how good it is based on the new stats. So better DPM now. Awesome. Same accuracy. Better aim time. Good. Same gun depression. Same traverse. Elevation. Better view range. Same horsepower per ton ratio. Yeah. Yeah, still amazing. Only 70 kilometers per hour top speed. So shave off by 10. But still, 70 is still pretty fast. With about 25 horsepower per ton ratio with that. More health. And the same matchmaking, so it's actual buff. Same cost. So basically, from the Romtel Panzerwagen at tier 10, it looks like the German light tanks are getting pretty good too. Other than the HWK-12, that's a little bit questionable, but it's, I mean, it's tier 8 with normal matchmaking, so I guess that's fine. But yeah, pretty good. T-49 doesn't have the derp gun. Whoops. No more assholery with the derpy 152. It's a mosquito. It's not a mosquito. It's like those horse flies that bites at you and sucks your blood. Annoying ass. I love this vehicle, especially with the derp gun. It's so unorthodox of a light tank. It's annoying to play against. Because you're playing a freaking heavy tank, it's just like, ooh, have a heavy armor. This thing pops up out of nowhere, derps 152 into your rear, and alright, let's take a look at the 90. So DPM is not with a high explosive. It has actual AP for the 90mm now. Wow. It's the same gun? It's the same gun, but it gets a AP round rather than high explosive round. Interesting. So let's compare it with the actual DPM from the high explosive anti-tank, because that's the same alpha, right? 240, 240, yep. So penetration is 185, which is, let's see, 185 pen for a tier 8. Not with the high, well, I cannot compare the high explosive, but that's alright. It's a tier 9 now. So 185mm pen with Garbo accuracy. Accuracy is nerfed, alright. Aim time is nerfed. So DPM is better, even with AP shell. Wait. Hold on. It's 240 AP. Oh, it's better. Even with high explosive anti-tank to AP is the same alpha. So it's actually better DPM. Alright. Worse accuracy. That's a trend. Same horsepower per ton ratio. Better dispersion by a little bit. That's good. Same traverse. Yep. Gun depression is the same. Same view range. Same cost. Same camo. Same speed. Same terrain resistance. A lot more health. What the frick? 300 more health than the 1100. So it's a buff. But you don't have the derp gun anymore. And this thing will play more like a medium, in my honest opinion. A flanking supporting medium tank. And is that good? I mean, it has a lot of health. Well, how much health does usual tier 9 medium tank have? About 1000 600 or so. So this will become a little bit more like a medium tank, but you can also use it to spot. Camo is a little bit questionable though, so it's a big light tank. I still miss the derp though. Oh well, same crew, yep, tier 9 though, okay, obviously. And we're back to the tier 100 light tank, so we already saw this, but crappy accuracy, yada yada yada, DPM is alright. So we already saw this, we already saw the WZ1321 as well. We already saw the XM551 Sheridan prototype, and the 13105, and the Panzerwagen. So, yep, there you go, folks. Most of the initial stats don't have the tier 7 yet, but here is the LTG, if you will. So let's zoom in. So this thing looks like a flat Emil 1, or it looks a lot like a Swedish vehicle, like the Leo, the tier 7 Swedish medium that got squished, because this hull shape is super flat. So yeah, look at this smushed into a pancake. Oh, only Russians would design vehicles that's super uncomfortable for their crew. Oh, you think you want to be a tank, dude? Well, you get cramped into a super small vehicle hull. Wow, that's uncomfortable. So yeah, I mean, it looks like it will have pretty good gun depression based on the structure of the superstructure or the turret. I don't know if I think it's a fully traversable turret. Yeah, it's a fully traversable turret, but it looks a little bit big on the top, so that means good gun depression. And this thing is flat, so I'm presuming that this will have pretty good camo rating, but the initial stats are not fully released yet, so I cannot tell you. But there you go, folks. Most of the light tanks with initial stats, and most of them are pretty much the same, with the trend of increasing DPM at the cost of accuracy. So they're designed to be more of a support at close range than sniping and camping in the back. So what Wargaming is trying to do is prevent these vehicles from becoming like bush campers, similar to tank destroyers. So, I mean, you camp with good camo and view range. If you have good accuracy, basically means you're a tank destroyer without the penetration or DPM, or the high alpha. But is it worth to play light tanks now? Well, it's worth to play tier 5 light tanks because they're getting a buff to the matchmaking. So ELC AMX does not see tier 8s anymore, hopefully, and just see tier 7s. But I mean, it looks like the Germans are the ones you want to go with, because they have the accuracy, they have the DPM, and the speed to get there. If you remember from the Rumtail Panzerwagen, this thing was pretty good. Same goes for the RU-251, which was pretty good currently, as well as with the newer edition. So I would recommend the Germans. What the frick? German bias now? Now it's German stuff. German super heavy tanks, German mediums, now with German light tanks. The GW Panther is pretty good. I love mine. Same goes for GW Tiger for the artillery piece. And you have the Waffenträgers, which are still pretty good. German bias. I never thought I'd say that. German bias? What is that thing? So there you go, folks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. That's the initial preview. Now everything are preliminary, so they are subject to change, yada yada, but that's the shaping of the light tank class rework. So I recommend you playing mostly the Germans. Mostly. The French seems lackluster. Very lackluster. The Russians have armor. The Americans are more like medium tanks, mostly. And the WZs are more like mediums. Like the actual mediums. So play German tanks. German bias. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.